Hey, what's up? I believe that I'm live. I'm coming to you from Universal Studios down in Florida, and I am chilling out and waiting for them to finish this Harry Potter thing, this Harry Potter exhibit. It's a pretty cool place. I mean, basically, the company kind of took all their brands, all their famous characters, and stuff like that. Um, and hold on, give me a second here. Yeah, I gotta send a note to the Queen because she's inside at the Harry Potter thing, and I told her I wanted to chill. It's so funny, I'm not big on like when I go to an amusement park, I like to relax. She kind of feels like we gotta go on every ride and gotta rush to make sure we get to every ride before we're done. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna walk slow. I'm gonna enjoy the scenery and all that stuff. So I did a bunch of rides. After I got done, I said I'm gonna be chilling. You take the kids, and her brother's here. And I was like, y'all just go have some fun, and I'm gonna be out here just relaxing. What's up? Let me see. I see what's that? Bashan and Joanne and Paul and Southern California and 7100 Warhawk. Paul Smith. I saw Jade up there. Toy, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? All right, so yeah, I was thinking about something today. I was talking to a young guy, about 16 years old, about academic excellence and how to pursue that. I think there are lots of black students, who are doing the damn thing, who are on top of their stuff. So I can't really say everybody is struggling, but if I had to really be honest, I would say that we got a lot to work on in terms of how we shape the culture in our household. I've been around different communities, different cultures when it comes to education, and I've seen kind of how the Asians, on average, pursue education. Some white families, how they pursue it, Jewish families, Nigerian families, etc. And one of the things that I really believe is that we have a lot to do when it comes to how we pursue educational excellence. I'm not a big believer, honestly, that the average black family is deeply committed to educational excellence at a very high level. I think that we're still primitive in the sense that we will applaud the fact that somebody finished high school or that they're the first one to go to college or that they graduated, and I think that's fine. I'm not saying that that's not an accomplishment. Nobody's shaming anything, but I think that there is another level that we can go to, and I don't think that we go to that other level. In fact, I think that we tend to pursue excellence in sports and entertainment. We tend to pursue excellence on the basketball court. We pursue excellence on the football field. We pursue excellence when we're entertaining white folks in any way, shape, or form. I'm talking about and excellence means pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion, looking for every nook and cranny of an opportunity, always working hard, overtime, nonstop, no matter what, to get a leg up on the competition. And I think that is, I think that is, something that we want to try to think about. I mean, you can't change it for the whole black community, but you can change that for your family. And you see it everywhere. You see it in the media. I mean, the black people who get the most attention in media are the most ignorant black people, the ones who can't read, like mumble rappers who, are getting arrested for drug overdoses and drug possessions and all this other stuff. I mean, you got your children idolizing idiots, literally idiot idolization, and they're idiot idolization and imitating idiots and idolizing them, right? So it's like a triple I philosophy. You're imitating and idolizing idiots. And so, now where does that come from? I mean, it comes from, who controls the media. White folks control the media, we know that. But they don't control all the media. They don't control all the media that you have access to. You have access to lots of media, like right now, for example. This is media. Me talking to you is media. And I think that, when we think about school, I remember when I got to college, I was lucky in the sense that my parents kind of raised me different from my other black friends. I ain't gonna lie, my parents, they didn't take no bullshit. They didn't fall for this like for example, I had friends, black male friends whose mothers would spoil them into the ground. I mean, clean their room after they made a mess. They go make babies mamas, and mama would be paying the child support for them to keep them out of jail. They would have, Like your son totals the car, you buy him another car, and then you just complain about all the cars you bought him after he keeps totaling the cars, and he don't give a shit. Kids coming home living with their parents when they're 30 years old. I never knew that. I never knew what that looked like. That was not that was not the value system in my house. So when I went to college, I kind of had an understanding that the outcomes of my life will be determined by the actions I choose. If I choose the bad actions, then I'm going to have bad outcomes. If I choose the right actions, I would have good outcomes. So when I got to college, I'd never made good grades in my life. I'd never done it. The best grade I'd ever made in high school was a B, and that was usually in like physical education or something like that. I never made an A in anything ever. And when I got to college, I decided to make good grades because I had a baby when I was a freshman, and I was like, oh, how am I going to take care of this baby? Well, at that time, I was in the whole like go to school, work hard, get a good job, kind of mindset. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just make good grades so I'll get the best jobs. That was my goal, to make really good grades so I could get the best job. So I remember my process for studying was unlike anything that my black friends was pursuing, at least at the University of Kentucky. Now, I went to a pretty mediocre school. Maybe if I had been at Harvard or Yale or at, Stanford, I would have seen some outstanding black students. So I'm not going to say that we don't have them out there, but I'm going to say at Kentucky, it was like people looked at me like I was a two-headed unicorn because I studied, just a few hours every day. Like because I studied consistently, or because I would study on a Friday night or a Saturday night, people thought something was wrong with me. Like, oh, you're not having any fun, or you're not going to enjoy college, or oh, you're just spending your whole life in a library. And I'm like, no, I'm working. Like this is what people do when they want to get ahead. They work. It's like sports. Like if you want to win championships, you practice. You don't fucking sit around and do nothing. So in college, I had a very simple system. My motto was very basic. I said, if I'm gonna go work for some white guy and he's gonna have me working 8 hours a day, then I might as well study for myself for 5 hours a day. If I can do 4 or 5 hours a day of studying, I could get ahead of all these lames. And and that's not even half a day of work. But I had friends that would literally study like 3, 4, 5 hours a week, like and then their GPA would be like 2.1, 2.2, and or 1.8 or whatever. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of sad because really, and I've been a college professor for a long time. After I finished college, I became a professor. And college ain't that hard, in most universities. In most state schools, the average, a 15-year-old, if you have a 15-year-old with average intelligence, I could put I could put your 15-year-old in my class where I taught seniors at Syracuse University. They now pay $64,000 a year to go to that school. I could put your 15-year-old in my class where I taught seniors, and if they just did what I told them to do and studied 4 hours a day consistently, they would make at least a B in the class, at least a B, probably an A. Right? It ain't about nothing but simply doing the basics and following directions. They don't make the classes very hard. A lot of professors have a lot of pressure on them. If they make it too hard, then your teaching evaluations go down, and next thing you know, the dean is calling you and saying like your students are complaining. So a lot of professors will make the class very easy because Americans are just so lazy. So anyway, I think that I can't change the whole culture. Unfortunately, the culture is just honestly, the culture is a little fucked up. Priorities all fucked up. People worried about all the wrong stuff, spending their time on the wrong stuff, paying attention to the wrong things. I can't change that, but I can tell you, when it comes to your success in life, it's basically about you putting in that work, picking up that skill, doing what you got to do, and hustling your way to the top. Figuring out what you need to learn, getting out here, learning the basics of, like wealth building, investment, and positioning yourself to be successful. The days where you're going to have all these horrible things happen to you just because you're black, that's kind of the boogeyman, honestly. Like, it's not, it doesn't mean things don't happen, but like when they talk about a lynching, right? How many of you know a black person who's gotten lynched? Like don't get me wrong. I mean, these white supremacist groups, these hate groups are bad, but when you're walking down the street, how often do you see neo-Nazis and skinheads trying to lynch you? Like, does that happen on a daily basis? Does that happen every day? All of my friends who were murdered by black men. Like, none of my friends were murdered by, a card-carrying white supremacist. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means people got you focused on all the wrong stuff. There are greater threats that you're not paying attention to because you're paying attention to the threats that are probably not as exaggerated as they make them out to be. So, I would say this. Look, if you are a student, and everybody should be a student. In fact, everybody who watches my channel every day. I just want y'all to know every damn day I'm gonna challenge y'all to go ahead and download one of those apps, Acorn Stash or Robinhood. Start investing in the stock market. Even if you do $5 at a time, I don't care. Just start investing. Everybody who's an investor, tell me you're an investor. Say something. Just say I'm a stock market investor. Just make that quick comment to let me know that is getting through to somebody. And I'm gonna bring this up to you all the time. You got to take those baby steps that'll get you ahead in life. If I were you, what I would do is, if you're trying to study, if you're trying to get ahead, then basically remember this: there's 168 hours in a week. So if you're trying to learn a new skill, you can literally study for 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, 35 hours a week, and still have 133 hours left in the week to do whatever you want. 133 hours is a lot of time. That's enough time for you to work a full-time job, for you to sleep 8 hours a night, for you to go hang out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or whatever it is. So don't think, like, when you send your kids to college, don't let them fall for this myth that, oh, well, if you're studying hard and making good grades, you can't have fun. That's not true at all. That is not true at all. You can have all the fun in the world, go to every party you want to go to, and still make straight A's if you just handle your business. Just go to the library. What I would do is I would go to the library in the morning, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, not too early, and I would just stay there away from everybody, no distractions, from like 9 to maybe 4, right? Do that 7 hour. You put in that work for 7 hours. Come home, take a 2-hour nap, be done by 6, right? And then you could literally party from 6 p.m. until 4 a.m. You can literally party, 10 straight hours and still be killing the GPA. So don't let your kids fool you into thinking that, oh, college is just so difficult, it's hard to make good grades. No, the systems are very basic. In fact, what is it? I think the program I actually created for college students is thecollegestudentguide.com, thecollegestudentguide.com. Check that out, and feel free to sign your kids up if you want, if they're going to college. What I basically do is just tell them everything that college professors may not tell them, every single secret that there is to know about how to do well in college. I basically give a college professor's perspective. I wish I could talk to like a million of these young freshmen coming into college, because I see so many of them just go down over bullshit. They just go down over stupid stuff, getting caught up in dumb stuff. You up here running around, partying all the time, sleeping with Becky. Next thing you know, you got a rape charge, or you ain't studying at all because you're hanging with your friends and then got into some stuff, and they spending no time in the library, no time with your books, and next thing you know, you're coming back home, you done blew your opportunity of a lifetime. It's sad. It's really sad. And the reason that they're not prepared for success is because nobody prepared them. Like, nobody sat them down and gave them the real on how this thing works. Like, nobody really explained to them, like, look, you're 19 years old. You're only going to be 19 once. Once you're not 19 anymore, you're going to start getting old, and your life is going to pass you by, and you're going to be looking back at all the opportunities you blew because you couldn't sit down and do just a little bit of work. Now you up here working for the white man for 10, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, kissing his ass, getting spit on, kicked around, treated like shit every day, nonstop, like a slave, because you didn't want to put in 3 hours a day of study. I tell you what, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If we could get the slave-minded people to work half as hard at their training, at education, as we work at just pure labor, we could be extremely successful. Think about this. I mean, when we go to work in these factories or these office buildings, wherever you're working at, you putting in serious work. You putting in, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, like grinding. You sleepy, still grinding, still going to work on the days of your kids. Your kids got a ballet recital, you can't go because you got to go to work. You working that hard. Imagine if you were working that hard in your academics. Imagine if we were just like, I got to do this 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, because I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get ahead. I got to do what I got to do. I'm looking for every edge. I'm pushing a little harder. Well, I'm going to tell you what, when I see top-notch students, especially those, in those in other cultures where education is literally like life or death for them, that's how they approach it. When I was in my PhD program, I saw my Chinese students study in ways that were just the only extremities I've seen, like in terms of that much extreme effort, was when I see how bad brothers want to get to the NBA. Imagine how hard a guy practices when he's trying to get to the NBA one day. He's on the basketball court, rain, sleet, snow, or hail. It'd be, 6 inches of snow. He's out there playing in his gloves. He's dribbling the basketball everywhere he goes. He's playing when it's dark. He can't even see the rim. He's going out there, any day of the week in the rain, right? Like that's kind of how other people approach academics, and that's why you see right now at Harvard University the Asians are suing because they're like, look, we're doing everything right, we're on our shit, we're giving 150%, we're busting our ass to try to excel academically, and you're penalizing that. Okay, I think I might have lost you guys for a second. Sorry about that. So, I'm gonna say this. Um, wow. Cindy says you're right, Dr. Watkins. I wish I'd stayed in college 30 years ago. I wouldn't be working so hard all the time now. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not making fun of anybody, but it's very unfortunate and very frustrating. But I'm gonna try not to be frustrated, and instead I'm just gonna try to share, just like what I know. It was easy for me to make straight A's in college. Very easy. Very is a piece of cake. And think about this: I had never made an A ever in anything in my life. All I did was I took the principles I learned from sports and applied them to academics. I became academically competitive. So the same way the same way you become athletically competitive. And I learned from sports that, like, if you want to win a championship, you don't practice once a week or once a month. You practice every day. I also learned that if you want to beat the next man, you got to work harder than him. And so every day I would just go to the library and I would work, I would study at least 5 hours a day. And now my friends thought that was crazy. They thought that was extreme. But I challenged them. I said, it's so ironic that you think studying 5 hours a day for your future is extreme. But I saw you go work over at McDonald's or Taco Bell, wherever you work at, and they told you to work 10 hours and you did that. So you're willing to go in there and put 10 hours flipping burgers for minimum wage for some white man for some shit for some money that's going to disappear in about a week, but you won't put 5 hours a day into your own future. You're probably a slave. If you think that makes sense, then you got a slave mentality. And a lot of us have slave mentalities put into us. We don't encourage each other to drill down and really dig for the knowledge and be intellectual and go hard. We don't push ourselves to be the absolute best academic specimens we can be. Even some of the parents I counsel, different parents, like, we got our Black Dragon program and stuff like that, where I counsel families on how to really implement certain principles into their household. And one of the things I tell them is, I don't care if your 11-year-old is making straight A's in the 6th grade. If she's making straight A's in the 6th grade, that's wonderful. That's a good start. That probably means that she needs to be doing 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade work. That's what they do, like in Asian households and Nigerian households. They're like, look, if you master the 5th grade, we're going to move you to the 6th. If you master 6th grade work, we're going to have you doing 7th grade work. Every child needs a tutor. I don't care if they have mastered everything the teacher put in front of them. That means that the tests that they're getting are not difficult tests. You push them to the level where, just like I was telling you how working out, my trainer tells me that you want to push, hit muscle failure. That's the only way you grow. So that means you go until you can't do it anymore, right? So basically, you want to push your child to the point where they get to a test that they cannot pass, so you can help them grow to become smart enough to pass that test. You don't want them flying through everything and having everything be a piece of cake, because you know what's going to happen when they get to college and they get around some real academic ninjas. They get around some little Ling Chow from Shanghai who've been studying mathematics 24 hours a day. They're not gonna be able to handle not being the top of the class anymore. They're not gonna be able to handle it when they take that test and get a C, because they ain't got no fight in them. They've never experienced muscle failure. They've never experienced failure. Remember, I was telling you guys about muscle failure. When I work out, my trainer just says, if you want your muscles to grow, you must achieve failure. Failure is your goal. That means you do, and I say, well, how many push-ups am I supposed to do? He said, you keep doing push-ups until your muscles do not work anymore, until you cannot do another push-up. And I was like, damn, that sucks, because every day I end with failure. And same thing must be true academically. When you have been pushed consistently to the point where you're constantly hitting that failure mark, it gives you mental toughness, where you learn how to fight back. The same way your muscle fights back and says, well, I'm not going to fail next time because I'm going to come back stronger. Well, you want to do that with your life. The best basketball player the best athlete I ever went to school with was a guy named Allen Houston. Allen Houston played for the New York Knicks. He made about $100 million. He's now an executive vice president or something with the Knicks organization. He used to guard Michael Jordan whenever they played the Knicks. When Allen was a kid, check this out, he was never the best basketball player on our team. In the 8th grade, he was not the best basketball player. There were other guys on the team where everybody in school considered those guys to be better than Allen. High school, there were other guys on the team that were better than Allen. The difference, though, was that these kids knew they were the shit. They were like, oh, I'm the best basketball player in Louisville, so they wouldn't work to improve their game. They had nothing to improve because all they'd had was success. They'd never experienced the joy of failure, which would push you to higher levels of achievement, right? So they never really failed because they were always dominated everybody they played against in Louisville. So Allen's father, though, had a different strategy. He made sure he failed on a regular basis. When Allen became Mr. Basketball and all this other stuff for the state of Kentucky, I don't think Allen was ever led to believe that he was really that great of a basketball player, because every time he won a state championship or, got an MVP award, his father would have college and NBA players come to town, and he would play against them, and he would get his ass handed to him. He would play against some guy who's a college All-American and realize he's got a long way to go. He played against an NBA player and realized, man, my game isn't very good. So Allen, despite the fact that he was very good, he actually, I believe, felt that he always knew he had a lot to work on. And what you'll find in a lot of cases is that the people who are really the absolute best at something are the people who were never allowed to get comfortable, right? Too much success definitely makes you comfortable. You want to go through some of the agony of failure, like literally be killed, spiritually, so you can resurrect yourself, because that's when you get that strength. You ain't really learned how to live until you have died. Like, in order for you to really live, you got to go through death. In order to get to heaven, you got to go through some hell. And if you can't find an opportunity to go through hell, if you are never blessed to experience hell, I feel sorry for you, because you'll never know the heights of the truest heaven that belongs to you in the eyes of God. You will never know what your potential is, because you have never gone through what it feels like to have your face on the fucking floor and have to find the strength to get back up. So I believe that we pamper our kids too much. I believe that we turn them into little pussy-ass, whiny crybabies who are going to whine every time a white man calls them the N-word or hangs a noose in their locker, and it distracts them and gets them scared. And black people, some of us, sometimes we act like a bunch of Sambos, where we get all caught up in what some white man said about us, or what white people are doing, or what so-and-so did or did not do for us. It drives me crazy. I kind of think we need some toughness. I really do. I'm sorry. I think that, my parents, I'm going to tell you what, my parents were probably, I'm going to see if she's out here yet. My parents would be probably defined as almost abusive, in the sense that they let me go through some shit. Like, there were times where they could have easily wrote a check to make my problems go away, but they made me solve my own problem. Now, was this because they were just so wise and profound that they just knew exactly what to do? I don't know. I don't know if my parents were that wise. But I'm going to tell you, the benefit of kind of going through things and having to figure things out and having to mark my own way is that it really gave me an interesting kind of resilience that really helped me a lot later on. It built kind of an exceptional ability to kind of just fight through certain situations that might cause other people to just kind of give up. And it was through this process I learned one of the biggest secrets to success is just not giving up, just literally not quitting, not giving up. Everybody gets tempted to quit, and all of us have quit at some point. But literally, people that are successful most of the time are just people who never quit. So I think that a lot of times the reason our students struggle in college is because most of them are going to a white university to begin with, right? And even HBCUs, many of the HBCUs are white universities. I hate saying it like that, but it's true. Just go. A lot of them don't even have any African Americans teaching, like in biology or the sciences or computer science or business and all that. It's kind of crazy. And again, if the government cut off their funding, those schools would disappear overnight. If Donald Trump decided he wanted to kill all the HBCUs, he could. In fact, I think Howard is in big trouble financially because of some stuff that the Trump administration did. And while I feel bad about it, I kind of feel like we need a new model of institution anyway, where we're not dependent upon the government. I don't think that's going to get us what we need. But then again, maybe I sound cynical. But anyway, but a lot of our students go to these white universities. They're already feeling intimidated. They're already feeling like they don't belong. but because you've been trained to believe that integration is your pathway to success, you kind of feel like it's a necessary evil for you to be around these white people who hate you and ask them to give you an opportunity for them to certify you and validate you and put you $80,000 in debt so they can give you a degree to make you feel better about yourself. So hopefully you can find another white person that will be your new benefactor after the old ones kind of get done with you. And so they go to these environments. They're feeling very, intimidated, very out of place, very unhappy. And so that's already there. And then they're also hypersensitive, right? Because again, when you're at a university, you're kind of being trained to be like a member of the Democratic Party. Like you're kind of being trained to be a black, liberal, black Democrat, black feminist, whatever it is. That's kind of where the indoctrination begins. So you get into this mode of just whining and complaining about everything and kind of believing that America is going to get better because one day white people are just going to start being nice to us and we have to keep on asking them to be more polite and complaining every time our feelings get hurt in hopes that one day they're going to actually be sensitive enough to give a shit. And that day has never come. I don't think that day is ever going to come, but we keep asking for it, almost like we're waiting for Jesus to come back. And so then at that point, they're going to class. You get there. First of all, I'm going to tell you this. I don't hate Greek letter organizations. I do not. If you are Greek, I think you're awesome. My brother's Greek. My sister's Greek. Alpha and AKA. That's my aunt's a Delta, stuff. So we got Greek in our family. But I never understood the heavy emphasis on Greek culture in the sense that I would literally see guys in college for 6 or 7 years because they were having so much fun with their fraternity brothers. I'm talking about wasted black men who could have been warriors, leaders, intellects, fathers, strong citizens in the community. Instead, they're just sitting around drinking with their frat brothers, sitting in college till you're 26 years old, and you think that's just normal. You think that's okay. I remember when I was invited to join every single fraternity. I was asked to be my friend Gerald asked me to be an Alpha. And then Gerald asked me to be a Kappa. I had another friend, Jason, who asked me to be an Alpha. My friend Daryl asked me to be a Sigma. And my roommate Aaron asked me to be a Q. So I got invited to all the major frats on our campus. And I thought about every one of them. I kind of imagined myself in those colors and all that. But the reason I chose not to was because I said that's kind of a distraction. I'm here trying to build a future for myself. I'm trying to be a strong black man. I want to be successful. I want to be a winner. And I don't see where, going to, spending like 5 hours a day practicing for a step show is going to help me be successful in this world. I don't understand how drinking and barking and giving you all my money is going to make my life better. I just didn't see it. It's no disrespect. It was just something that just didn't add up to me, and in fact, most of my friends who were Qs, most of them became alcoholics in college. And I'm not dissing the Qs, but the Qs that I knew, it was kind of scary. I was like, these guys are going to be alcoholics when they're 40, 50 years old. And that doesn't play out well, when you're a father and your kids are trying to look up to you and daddy's passed out in the front yard drunk. Or daddy's still 50 years old thinking that he's still in college, and then, I just sort of saw a lot of waste. I saw a lot of wasted black talent where we would put all this energy. Okay, it looks like I lost you for a second. If you ever see black excellence, go to a step show or a basketball game. If you go to a step show or a basketball game, those are two examples where you see black excellence in full effect. And when I say excellence, I'm talking about people that have spent countless hours practicing in order to make sure everything is absolutely perfect. And sometimes I would see that and I would say, my God, if we pursued that level of excellence for every math test, we would be the best mathematicians in the world. If we put that level of excellence into learning entrepreneurship, we would be the best business owners on the planet. If we put that level of excellence into damn near anything that mattered, we could be the best on the planet at this. But instead, we spent 78 hours practicing for a fucking step show, and you ain't even a goddamn dancer. You're not even trying to be a professional dancer. You're not trying to go to Broadway and make money as a dancer. This is literally, you're literally going in front of your friends, putting on a show, and you put 80 hours of practice into that show. I'm not going to say that that's bad. It's cool. Everybody's got hobbies. But you don't do your hobbies before you do your real shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to do your real shit before you do the secondary shit. But sometimes we'll do the secondary shit before we do the primary shit. And then we wonder why we in the shit. We wonder why our lives are shit. It doesn't make any sense, you know. And I remember when I was asked to join these frats, I was like, okay, so let me get this straight. So you're telling me I got to give you $1,000 or whatever it was that I don't even have, so you can fuck up my grade point average by waking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and asking me to walk to Taco Bell in the middle of the night for you, which I'm not going to do because I will kick you in your fucking balls if you paddle me, if you punch me, you put a cigarette butt out on my shoulder, you yell at me, you kick me, whatever. I'm going to probably fuck you. I'm going to fight back. Like, I'm not going to do that. You know, so wait, so you're telling me that I got to give you money to put me through all kinds of hell so I get to join your organization? And I was like, well, shouldn't you be paying me? Like, if I'm doing all this shit for you, I should be the one making money, right? Not you. It just didn't make any sense to me. Again, I'm not dissing people who, you know, who pledge. I understand it's a secret, special bond that men and women have that people on the outside are not going to get, right? And I respect that. I really respect that. Like, my brother's an alpha, and I respect that. You know, I'm like, okay, I understand. Whatever happened with the alpha brothers, whatever y'all got going on, I respect that. My sister's an AKA. I respect that. But I just didn't get it. You understand? I didn't get it because, to me, when you go balls to the wall hard for something, I feel like it should be something that really means something when it comes to you finding your bliss, your happiness in life, finding your success, overcoming white supremacy, whatever matters, living your dream. Like, I can understand somebody, like, for example, if you wanted to be a Hollywood actor and you went balls to the wall to be the best actor you could be, like made sacrifices nobody else would, and became a great actor like a Will Smith or something, that makes sense to me. You know, now Will's worth $300 million because he went balls to the wall for his shit. Good for him. If you go balls to the wall because you have a chance to play in the NFL and you dedicate everything to being the best player you could be, and you achieve that, that makes sense to me too. Like, okay, yeah, practice hard. If you want to be the best, you got to practice. But I didn't understand the whole pledging process because I didn't understand what the benefits are. And I saw that as a huge distraction. I saw people, my roommate in college, he literally, you know, the first semester, me and him were the #1 black students on the entire campus. Actually, I was ranked #1, he was ranked #2 as far as grade point average. I had the highest GPA all 4 years of every black student on the University of Kentucky campus. I was very proud of that at the time because I'd never achieved anything academically before. He was ranked #2. And do you know that he then pledged? He pledged Q his sophomore year, his second semester of his freshman year. And I remember I was like, hey man, I don't think, I read in a book that freshmen shouldn't pledge. Like, that's not good for your grade point average. And he did it anyway. So lo and behold, like, his grade point average hit the floor like a brick. I don't know what he got. I think he pulled a 1.0 that semester or something insane to where he was almost kicked out of school and had to spend 4 years trying to catch up, you know, GPA wise. And I didn't understand if it was worth it. And then I watched him deteriorate into an alcoholic, you know, and I was like, man, like, this does not seem like it's good for you. Like, I don't understand any of this. And the crazy thing was, you know, when I kept my GPA up or whatever, we both applied to law school at the same time. And we applied to the same school, and he got put on the waiting list. And when they saw my application, they actually gave me a 3-year scholarship like that. Like literally, first day I turned in my application, the last day at, you know, it was due at 4. I turned it in like 3:45. I had to walk it to the law school because it was a University of Kentucky law school. The next morning, the dean called me and offered me a full ride for 3 straight years, everything paid for. And I didn't even want to go to University of Kentucky Law School. I didn't think it was a very good law school, but I just thought it was cool to get the scholarship. And I remember, I think he was really jealous. Like, I think he was really mad at me. And I was like, why are you jealous of me, bro? Like, you know, I took advantage of opportunities that you didn't. And I think that that's kind of what I think is interesting. You know, I think it's unfortunate, you know, because I can think of a couple times when that happened, where I would know somebody and we get the same damn opportunity. And I want to go put in the work. You want to go to the club. You know, I want to focus. You want to go drink. You know, Saturday night, I'm grinding, you know, working hard, studying. Saturday night, you're laughing at me, telling me, you know, you know, that you're having fun and doing whatever. and then I get results from that hard work, and you're jealous of that. Like, I don't get that, and I think that that happens a lot. Like, you have a lot of successful black people who became successful not because somebody handed them some shit. Everybody want to act like because you're successful, somebody handed you something, you got lucky, or oh, you're blessed and I wasn't blessed, I was unfortunate, and you fall for that shit. You feel guilty. You're like, oh gosh, yeah, I had the opportunity to go to law school and to be successful and be blessed, and my cousin didn't get the same opportunity. Well, a lot of times they did get the same opportunity. They just made bad decisions that were influenced by a very sick, unhealthy culture, right? And and you don't have to feel guilty about the fact that you did what you're supposed to do. I talked to a black woman about that recently, who, she's doing pretty well. She makes, probably six figures or something, and, handled her business. She's doing well financially. And she talks about, going to the hood and dealing with cousins and relatives who aren't doing as well, and feeling like she's out of place, and, the mistreatment. And I'm like, you don't have to feel guilty. I said, I know where you came from. I said, you were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You were born in some fucked up in a fucked up scenario. But your optimism, your hard work, your commitment to improving your life, your commitment to education, your commitment to not doing stupid shit, the same dumb shit that your cousins were doing, is what led you to have a better life than them. So they can come over and get mad because you've got a great husband and all they got is a couple of shitty babies' daddies. They can get mad because you got a beautiful house and they've been renting apartments for the last 25 years. Like, they can get mad that you love your job and they hate going to work every morning. They can get mad that you're driving a Benz and they driving a hoopty. But I need you to really rewind that, hit the rewind button on that, and realize like that y'all were kicking it together back, 20, 30 years ago. Like, y'all were all in the same space with the same opportunities, having similar conversations. And when you said, let's go to the library, they said, no, let's go to the club. And everybody in here knows what I'm talking about, because you have seen this up close. You've seen this. And so I think that while it's certainly great to have sensitivity for people who struggle more than you, I think you can't forget that. I think that sometimes we get too much survivor's guilt pushed off, and also we attribute too many things to luck. We attribute too much to luck. Like, like anybody who is hating on what you accomplished, first thing they'll do is say, oh, well, it's only because so-and-so did that for you, or it's only because so-and-so gave you that. Like, I had a friend that was a rapper, and he had another friend that was a rapper who learned business. There was a difference. Like, most of the successful rappers I know are rappers who don't just rap, they know business. Like guys like D1 or other guys I really respect, like Tech Nine. So like, they know business, so they know how to go out and get that money. They know how to make money. Chance the Rapper knows how to make money. And so anyway, this guy had a friend. He's a rapper. He's been making mixtapes since 1995, and it never really took off for him. He ain't making no money at it. And he had a friend who actually started making money, like independent, like was making good money independent. And I said, well, maybe if you tried some of what he did, like maybe that will help you. And he was like, oh, well, the only reason he got successful was because he met so-and-so and so-and-so put him on. I'm like, yeah, but maybe the reason so-and-so put him on was because he had his shit together. Maybe so-and-so put him on because I know that he makes music that resonates with the audience. Maybe so-and-so put him on because he understands business models, and I don't think you understand business models. All you do is you make your music and you throw it out there and you get mad because nobody likes it. But there's a reason nobody likes your music, and it ain't because they all hating on you. It's because you're not adapting and adjusting and taking advantage of opportunities and positioning yourself to be successful. See, what a lot of people don't understand, people that are on their shit, that are really grinding, that have their shit together, they tend to get luckier than people who are not on their shit. Opportunities seem to fall in their lap because what regular people don't realize is that a person who's on their shit creates opportunities just by being on their shit. Like, people that have the ability to give opportunities, like I'll give you an example. I have given most job opportunities in situations where we didn't even have a job listed. We didn't even have a position open in our company. But what would happen is I would meet somebody, a young person who's really on their stuff, who's really got it together, who knows how to write, knows how to communicate, who's very professional, and I'll say, let's create a job for that person. Now, somebody on the outside would say, oh, well, the only reason you got this opportunity is because you met Dr. Boyce Watkins and he hooked you up. Well, no, you got to understand the only reason I opened the opportunity up was because the person was on their shit. They were on their stuff so well that I said, let me create an opportunity right now. Because most jobs that people are given are not jobs that are listed as available. There are situations where the CEO sees a talented person and an opportunity to forge a partnership that is going to benefit the corporation or benefit the organization. So really talented people create opportunities. They create luck because either when the opportunity is there, they're ready for it, or people see how ready they are and they create an opportunity for them. So don't believe the bullshit. Like if you're a young person, you need to learn right now. Life ain't fair. And half of what you're learning in books and from what people tell you when you go to college and all that, half of that is bullshit. Half of that is so inconsistent with how the world works. And if you believe that shit, then you're gonna be disgruntled, you're gonna be mad, you're gonna be disappointed, you're gonna be confused, you're gonna be hurt, you're gonna be upset. You need somebody that's gonna really help you understand, okay, how does this game really work? Like, how do I really get ahead? Because a lot of what you're told is just not true. So I think that's why you have millions of black people that went to college, graduated, some of them, who are very unhappy. They got a lot of debt. Maybe they didn't do as well as they could have done because they got caught up and distracted in nonsense. I think that there's elements of our culture that are very unhealthy and bad. The food we eat, for example, is very unhealthy and bad. I still eat that food, so I can't even talk, but I just know that it's unhealthy and bad. What we do with our money as a culture, as a community, is very unhealthy and bad. What we do academically is very unhealthy and bad. How many households do you walk into in our community where you can clearly tell from walking in that door that education is the number one priority in that household? That Saturday school is going to happen, that kids are going to be in extra programs to get their grades up, that doing well academically is just the most important thing in that house. How many households in the black community do you believe put education as important on the hierarchy list, whereas on the priority list, as say, an outstanding Asian family? How many black families do you know can outdo every Asian family when it comes to educational commitment? Not many. I don't see many that do. I see a lot of families where the kids are sitting in front of the TV screens all day long. They're going to their little sports camps and cheerleading camps and all that, but ain't nobody talking about nothing about reading no books. Ain't nobody talking nothing about anything academically. Ain't nobody talking about no plan for the future. Ain't nobody talking about nothing. And if you're not talking about a plan for the future, then you will not have a plan for the future. And when you're not planning your own future, the system has a plan for you. The system already plans your future for you when you can't plan it yourself. So I would just encourage you to step off that track and question everything, analyze everything, kind of analyze, be honest with yourself, be honest about your community. Like, where are we really letting go of opportunities? Where are we really not holding ourselves accountable? And one of the reasons I got away from the Democratic Party is because the Democratic Party it's like we're not allowed to hold ourselves accountable for shit. Every damn dumb, ignorant, stupid ass thing that any black person does is like, oh, well, the only reason he did that was because he went through trauma as a child, or he only did that because his father wasn't there in the household. And that's fine, I understand that. But what are you going to do to get over that? How do we overcome that? Like, if somebody, is trying to run a race and they have one leg and they can't win the race because they have one leg, yeah, that's fine that they can't run as fast as everybody else because they have one leg, but is there a way to compensate for that? Like, do we need to put his ass in a little chair, a wheelchair, and roll his ass down? Like, what we got to do to fix that? Like, don't just tell me that last place is okay for him because he's handicapped. That's how they talk about your men. They talk about your men and some of your women too, like they're disabled. And when you're disabled, people disqualify you from the race. When you're disabled, you get disqualified. So they put you to the side and say, well, of course black people can't do anything. Look at what they go through. Of course he can't read. Look at what he's gone through. But if he can't read, then why is it that he can do so many other things? If he can read, why is it that he can go out here and fuck 47 women and make 18 babies? If he can't read, then why does he have time to go out and go to the club? If he can't read, why does he have the ability to make it, to the club every weekend or whatever it is? If she can't read, why can't she go to Beyonce concerts and buy Gucci purses and get the latest iPhone and know what's going on with Beyonce's twins? Like to me, it's like if you can't do the things you need to do, then how is it that you suddenly have the ability to do all the things you want to do? And that's what I'm saying. I yell, I cussed out. I don't mentor a lot of young people because I'm too honest with them. So I had a 17-year-old girl that I cussed out because this little girl wanted the newest iPhone, and I saw her show such determination to get a new iPhone. But yet, when it came to anything involving discipline, commitment to her future, she couldn't pay attention for more than 10 minutes. Like when it came to her education, when it came to her, future planning, whatever she's trying to do. Uh oh, hold on for a second. Okay, hey, all right, it's time to go. Okay, okay. She's telling me it's time to go, so I'm gonna be walking while I'm talking. I'm about to go in a minute, but when it came to anything that mattered for her future, she had no interest in it. She put no time into it. She did no planning for it, no preparation, no nothing. And I said, I don't understand why when I'm trying to talk to you about going to college, or when I'm trying to talk to you about reading books, or when I'm trying to talk to you about learning how to start a business or invest, you don't have time for any of that. All that stuff is not of interest to you. But when it comes time to go and shop for the latest iPhone, you suddenly become the most disciplined and determined person on the earth. I said, that's why your life is going to be fucked up if you don't change your behavior, because you're putting all your energy into the bullshit, into the wrong things. And that's it. We got a lot of people that put a lot of our energy into the wrong things, and then they wonder why they keep losing. But anyway, I got to go, guys. Hit that thumbs up button real quick. Please take 1 second. Give me a thumbs up. I'm about to go because I got to go and follow them up to the next Harry Potter ride or whatever we're doing here. So I'll see you guys soon. Be good. Peace.